Today's the day we have been waiting for. Playoff baseball at the friendly confines at Wrigley Field. And we got a lot to talk about on today's show, but something that I want to tell you guys right here in the open, before we play the open, is that we are giving someone here watching this show tickets to Game 2. Sit out in the bleachers, cold beer, watch the Cubs hopefully take out the Padres, day baseball in the best place on earth. You got to be part of what we're doing, though. It's free. AveD, scan that, sign up, and then get in the comments section and tell me, I want to go to Wrigley and watch Game 2, and I can get there because I need a picture of you if I send you these tickets. It's going to be a battle. We know the Cubs starting pitcher for Game 1. We know the Padres' entire rotation for this playoff series. And my man, Pete Crow-Armstrong, Hollywood Pete, penned a little letter about what's going on right now in his head. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Let's get this party started. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, make fun of the Cardinals, do whatever you want. Let's go. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Pleasure to talk to you guys today as we get ready for playoff game number 1. Giving away tickets for game number 2. So make sure that you guys get in the contest. It's free. AveD, you got to be part of that comment section. You got to do 2 things. All right, let's go right here, though. Game 1, Cubs, Padres, around 2 o'clock, Wrigley Field. Chicago, it's going to be a matchup. The first time that these 2 teams have played postseason baseball since 1984. That infamous series where the Cubs took care of business at home, went to San Diego, had some bad bounces, and lost to the Padres. And it looked like they were going to go to the World Series for the first time since 1945. And then they didn't. And then they didn't go in the late 80s, and they didn't go in the early 2000s. Then they won it all in 2016, so we're good. But we want to try to win another one. And is this the year that the Cubs catch that same magic that other teams have caught in the playoffs over the years? I mean, we're due, right? We had the best team in baseball when we won that World Series in 2016. And you're looking back on it, it was easy to say we had the best team. This year, you know what? No, they don't have the best team. They got a good team, not the best team, but it doesn't matter. Now it's all about winning games. And you don't have to have the best team. You got to be the hottest team in baseball. And we get ready for this game today. So the Cubs, without Cade Horton, unfortunately, had to turn to Matthew Boyd. And when Horton went down, knowing that the Padres have struggled against left-handed pitching, I figured that it would be Matthew Boyd for the Cubs. And that's who the Cubs turn to. We don't know who's going to start game 2 yet. And I get it. You know, it's one of those things where you put all hands on deck, and you may have to use somebody that you haven't used in a relief spot in the postseason if you need the outs. And, and for Matthew Boyd, he's been sensational at times this year. He's been excellent at home this year, and at 14-8 with a 3.21 ERA, and then 12-1 with a 2.51 ERA at Wrigley. This was, I don't want to say it was an easy pick, but it was the one that I thought it was going to be. And the only reason I say it wasn't easy is that he hasn't been his best, although he did pitch well his last time out down the stretch. I think if Cade Horton was healthy, it might have been a more difficult decision because you're either going to go, in my mind, Horton game 1, game 2. He's out. So now, do you go Colin Ray? Do you go Shota? You're going to look at Jamison Tyone. I don't know. They haven't announced that yet, but we do know that Boyd goes game 1. And I think that at this point, I don't think many of you guys are going to sit at home and argue about that. Nick Pivetta's the starter for the Padres. He's been their best this year, 13-5 record, and a 287 ERA. But away this year, hey, throwing it back at you, 5-4 record and a 3.55 ERA. So, I mean, look at the way that this kind of balances for the Cubs having home field advantage. And that's why you want home field advantage so bad. Will they let Matthew Boyd go deep in this game if he's pitching well? And we've seen him do that this year. And the other question for me is will the Cubs offense give him some run support? I mean, how many times has this guy pitched and not gotten any support? But I like the way that the bats really lit up when they started playing the Cardinals and Tucker got back in the lineup. And it feels like this team's ready to be locked in and get going again. And these are the games that count. You got to win 2 to get to the Brewers. I'm telling you guys right now, Milwaukee thinks they want to play the Cubs. They don't. They don't. They're the number 1 seed, and I'm telling you, they are beatable. But you got to get there. And this is a really tough series against a Padres team that I could see making a run. But I could see the Cubs making a run. It's just, it's, when you're a wild card team and you're second in your division, obviously you didn't win your division, but there's some good things about you. The Padres have a very nasty lineup, and they've got some very good players. And they've got a good, setup here for game 1. Now, interestingly enough, a couple of former Cubs are going to finish out the rotation in this 3-game series, right? Or best of 3. Game 2 is going to be Dylan Cease. Cease came up with the Cubs organization and then was traded to the White Sox for Jose Quintana. Now he's 29 years old. We had all those rumors in the offseason, right up until, honestly, the beginning of the season, that the Cubs and the Padres could consider a trade that would send Cease back to Chicago, right? This year, 2.55 ERA and a 3.4 WAR for him. He's got great stuff. He really does. Last year and the year before that, really one of the best pitchers in baseball. This year hasn't been his best year. There were even rumors at the deadline saying that they could consider trading Cease. He's a free agent at the end of the year as well. And who knows? Maybe he goes back to the Cubs on a deal to be a starter. I would not be surprised if that happens, right? But we want to beat him, and he's the guy that you're going to have to face in game 2. Now, if necessary, game 3, how about this? Darvish. Darvish left-hander. He's got amazing stuff. And I've always wondered why Darvish wasn't better. And what I mean by that is you watch him pitch, and he's got all of these pitches. He's got all this great movement and velocity, but he's just not a winner. He finds ways to lose. He's that show dog that you're looking at and you're going, what do you do outside of walk around give me the hunting dog. He's not a hunting dog. Good, very, very good pitcher. But when the Cubs traded him, they got Owen Casey back in that deal and some other guys. I think one day we're going to look back at this deal and be pretty happy with it. Although Darvish, if he's on, he's tough to hit. He'd be the game 3 starter. Now, for the Cubs, what do I think the rotation's going to look like for the Cubs? It's so tough just because the Padres have a hard time hitting left-handers. How do you set up the rest of the rotation? And I almost feel like Jameson Taillon has pitched so well, but I think it could be Shota game 2 just because of the fact that if they get shut down by another left-hander, why do anything different, even though he's given up some home runs? And then I'm guessing Jameson Taillon game 3, but you could go Colin Ray. That's where I'm thinking right now. I don't know. And who knows, by the time you watch this, they may have said it already. I don't know, but that's kind of where I'm thinking things are going into this playoff series, right? Now, I want to throw this up for you, and I really thought that this was cool. I am a Pete Crow-Armstrong fan. I love him. I thought he was just awesome as a Cubs prospect. I got a chance to interview him. I've always enjoyed the way that he plays the game. That's how I judge a player, the intensity that they play the game with, right? Ryan Friel, I've said this before on here, the intensity that Ryan Friel played the game with is why he's one of my favorite all-time players and was with the Cubs for a short amount of time, but I love the way that he played the game with reckless abandon. And I think Pete Crow-Armstrong does that. Javi Baez is one of my, probably him and KB, my 2 all-time favorites. Pete's right up there in that mix, outside of the Hawk and Rhino. I mean, look, I could sit here and I always liked always like Gracie, but I mean, just the intensity that they bring to the game every day. This guy brings it. And he did what's something really cool. The Players Tribune, he did a letter to fans, and some of the stuff I already knew, from talking to him. But he talked about in this what it's like to be Pete Crow-Armstrong. And one of the things he said, and you guys should read this, is that he was having so much fun at the beginning of the year, and it feels like the pressure of trying to be successful was causing him a lot of trouble towards the end of the season, the second half of the season, because he had so much success. Everybody expecting that. He expected that. And he's going to try to get back to having fun. Talked about how, and I thought that this was something that he told me too, and I've always thought about it. Like, his dad was a huge Cubs fan from Naperville, and he didn't say, hey, you got to be a Cubs fan. He just said you couldn't be a Dodgers or a Cardinals fan. And what Pete told me was like, look, I'm a fan of the players. I was a players guy, and I'm like that in the NFL for the most part. The baseball, I'm a Cubs fan, but in the NFL, I get that. Like, there's just, you feel like there's just guys that you, if I can get back on the screen, guys that you just really love. And I'm all over the place now. Anyway, guys that you really like to watch play. Hey, there I am. And I'm telling you right now, Pete Crow-Armstrong is so important in this series. And there's a few reasons why. He told me that Javi Baez was his favorite player, which is interestingly enough crazy that he got traded for him. And then both of those guys play the game with a different intensity. We'll see if he's got that Javi Baez in him, because when you got into the big games, Baez was his best. It was like he just had another gear in the big games, got up for him. Loved that about him. And I think that's why I just loved watching Baez play so much. Absolute monster, man. A dog on the field, Javi Baez. And I hope that the Cubs and the Tigers play in the World Series. That'd be great, just like they did back in 45. Pete's got to be that guy now. And I'm going to tell you, and you've seen this, but before he ever played a game, do you guys remember me talking about the guy had a 16-pitch grand slam? And for most of it, he was down 0-2. He's just fouling off pitches. I saw him score from second base on a double play attempt. Insane. And then he scored from second base on a wild pitch the other day. He does things in the big games, if he can get on base, that are difference makers. Watch for it. If he gets on base, he may score from first on a single. Just wait. He may do something spectacular Javi Baez way. And I can remember the late, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, the late Buddy Bailey, who was for years an instructor in the Cubs minor league system until last year, and he passed away a week ago. But he used to say that you can't let the stress of the game take away from the enjoyment of the game. Now, it's not the exact quote, but he had a quote to that extent. And basically, it's like Buddy loved going to the park every day. He loved hitting the fungos. He liked throwing BP until he couldn't do that anymore. He liked flipping. He liked, having guys go hit off of the machines. He enjoyed the game, but he enjoyed all the work that it took to get to the game. And it was never work for him. He was just like, loved it. And I used to watch him and think, man, that's the way you got to be. I feel like Pete Crow-Armstrong's that same way. Remember, Owen Casey told me at one point, he said, I got better defensively because I watched how seriously this guy would take batting practice, because he'd be out there catching the ball, and how seriously he took his defense. He's a special player. And he's the kind of guy that can make a play with his legs that could get the Cubs to that Brewers series that we all want. I just, fingers crossed that we get there. All right, guys, look, I'm going to tell you one more time. If you can get to the game on Wednesday and you want to go, I'm taking I'm giving somebody tickets, and I'm giving them to them today. I know it's the day before. That's how we're going to do it. So hit that QR code right there. You got to be part of Avenue D, and you need to get in the comments section, and you need to tell me that you want to go to the game. And then the other thing is, if I send you tickets, I need you to send me a picture in the bleachers that we can put up here and show everybody. That's the deal. And you're going to have fun out there. Maybe you'll get involved in a cup snake. Maybe you'll have a cold beer. Maybe you'll get to sing the stretch, and maybe you'll be there for a game 1 win. That's what I hope for. So thank you guys. As always, like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit that bell. Make fun of the Cardinals. Everybody else is right now. Let me just throw one more. I've made fun of the Cardinals every day. I've tried to. Every show. And honestly, it's tongue-in-cheek. I don't really hate the Cardinals. I just want us to beat them. And they're our rival. So I'm going to give them a hard time. But the walk to Michael Busch so that they didn't have to give a single up for him to get the cycle has just made the Cardinals look so ridiculous. And it's not going anywhere. The stories, the comments, a lot of these managers are getting fired right now. And I'm wondering if Marmol's going to be next on that list. I saw Baldelli go. I saw Melvin go. It's that time of year, pink slip time. I just thought that was just such a yellow-bellied move there, not to pitch to Busch. We wouldn't have done that. It's not the right thing to do. And he looks so stupid over there with that smug look on his face. Like, come on, man. It's the reason that it's a game. It's just supposed to be fun. Maybe he watches the show. Maybe this is my fault. Maybe somebody sent him a clip of me making fun of the Cardinals for an entire season, and this was the way he was getting back at us, taking it out on Bushy. Well, I hope that's not the case. But the Cardinals are going to get to sit at home today, and they're going to get to watch us in the playoffs. And hopefully we get hot, and he's watching for a long time. QR code, make sure that you hit that. And also, don't forget, I need a comment from you in the comment section here. You're going to have to be on both places. Be part of our Avenue D Mick Nation and comment. And I'm going to, and listen, the other thing is I need you to leave your email address so that I can send you hey, that you won. And you got to go to the game. Can't wait. Who's going to go and sit there for me and watch the game live? All right. Thank you, guys. And we will talk to you again tomorrow.